everyone, my name's Dean, and let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is February 10th, 2025. And we are currently experiencing an altcoin breakout, okay? It's slow, but I'm going to explain to you why that's a good thing, all right? It's not what you want, but it's what you need. So we're going to talk about that. But first, as per usual, we're going to touch on Bitcoin. We're going to give a quick Bitcoin update and then get into the altcoin breakout. So if that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Let's get into it. Let's go on let's stay on the daily time frame. All right. This is what we've been dealing with. So Bitcoin hit the bottom of this 40 plus day channel, okay? Right here, let me get my pen out so you can see what I'm talking about. So bottom of the 40-day channel, we broke down all the way down here around 90K, and then we bounced, and ever since for about a week, let's say, we've been putting in some sort of consolidation above the phi ratio. And I remember describing this in detail. Basically, you're looking at an ABC zigzag more likely than not. And we have confirmation of this if this consolidation stays above the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level of the previous move up, okay? So an ABC zigzag in Elliott wave analysis is 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 waves up. It's a corrective pattern, one of 3 corrective patterns in technical analysis according to Elliott wave theory. So here we do indeed have our phi ratio maintained, right? If you look at this, you can see you've come up and the retracement is still respecting that 0.618, which is more or less represented on this chart at 95K, thereabouts, okay? So you're maintaining the phi ratio, and your next target is going to be up here around 108, okay? Around 108, that's the next target. So Bitcoin should make that matriculation, and, this is pretty much what we've been saying, and this is pretty much what's been going on. And what else is there to say about this? We're finding resistance below the midline, because the midline of any channel is going to be resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. So we're currently finding resistance almost to the dollar right below the midline of the channel. So there's not that much going on. It's not that interesting. Drop down on the 4-hourly time frame and you can see all of this in more detail. Again, you can pull your Fibonacci retracement tool to see exactly what I'm talking about. Like for the past week or so, we've been doing this. It's a retracement of this. All right. Again, if you want to label these, this would be your A wave. All this would be your B wave. Remember, B waves are counter corrections. So like there's the counter. So you have an initial break, then a counter. That's called a B wave. And B waves are characterized by complex, unpredictable, choppy price action. This is exactly what you're seeing here. And then the ensuing C wave is once more going to be impulsive like the A wave, but even more so because the C wave is pure impulse, right? More or less. And so that's what you're going to see here. And again, our target's about 108. That's about, a 10%, 11, 12% move for Bitcoin that we're expecting. Nothing's changed, not that interesting. People who are not making this read are really excited about Bitcoin and saying, if you're not buying Bitcoin now, you're doing everything wrong. You don't want to buy Bitcoin now. You want to wait until Bitcoin breaks down from this 80 plus day channel, hits our low side targets, then you want to buy Bitcoin, if at all, because we're going to be in alt season proper, in which case altcoins are going to massively outperform Bitcoin. So I don't know, nothing against Bitcoin. It's just, of all the times during the course of the cycle, if you will, when you want to decide, or when you want to think about investing in Bitcoin, this is not the time. It's the time to really look at altcoins, and that's what I want to talk about at this point. So, Bitcoin, cool. But altcoins, look at this. All right, let's go to our Bitcoin dominance chart. Bitcoin dominance is still in this price action that we've been looking at, right? And it's, it's kind of, it's not kind of, it is a triangle. It's a triangle. It's a triangle because we've come down, and a triangle, according to Elliott wave analysis, is A, B, C, D, or let's see if we can't do this better. So a triangle in Elliott wave analysis is an A, B, C, D, E. So basically there's A, B, C, D, E, 5 different waves. And in Elliott wave analysis, it's stated that typically you get complex waves in C or D, or is it C or D, or D or E? It's C, D, or E. One or two of those are complex, meaning they're kind of, they're not, just easy, straight run of the mill. So this is A, I think. This is B. I think B is complex here. C, D, E. Okay, that's my triangle, right? Let's put this in properly. So yeah, again, a triangle, Elliott wave, triangle wave, you see A, B, C, D, E, is just one of 3 types of corrective patterns that you see according to Elliott wave analysis. And so, any proper manual on Elliott wave analysis will explain what a triangle is, what it looks like, how it moves, how it breaks down, what the waves look like, all that stuff. So this is really useful stuff. Why do we study Elliott waves? Everybody always talks about, 5 waves up, we're in wave this, we're in wave that. Very few, kind of armchair Ellioticians, you want to call them, or wait, what's going on here? I don't think I've ever used this tool. Okay, let me not play on while I'm recording. I'll play with that later, but I've never used that tool before. That's new to me. I just wanted to draw a triangle. Let me just do it manually, and then I'll play with that later. That's exciting. All right. So yeah, this is a triangle, and basically what I was saying is, and I say this a lot, in my experience doing this for many years, the most useful part of Elliott wave analysis is not necessarily the different impulsive waves that everybody likes to quote, right? And they misread. Actually, you can know 5 waves up. You can know about that, but most people misread what 5 waves up are because they have a poor understanding of corrective patterns or corrective price action. Corrective price action is probably the most unsexy, the most, the least exciting thing about TA, because it typically entails a lot of choppy sideways bullshit, and you have to wait, and that's where you lose all the money, you get chopped out. But really, I love how Elliott wave analysis breaks down corrective price action in a practical, digestible, intelligible way. And if you understand corrective price action, then impulsive price action's easy. But if without an understanding, a proper, good handle on corrective price action, you're going to not even understand pure impulsive price action. You can't discern, it's just different. It doesn't make sense to you. don't shy away from corrective price action. That's why some of the best times to really get dug in and immerse yourself in TA is during a bear market, because there's no shortage of corrective price action. And if you have a good handle on corrective price action, your flat corrections especially, because that's what you typically see, your triangles and your zigzags, then I think you have a good understanding of technical analysis, right? And it's like if you study Wyckoff and you don't know what an accumulation or a distribution is, but you only know what a break, you only think about breakouts and looking at volume. It doesn't make any sense. Most of technical analysis is boring sideways corrective price action. So if you want to learn technical analysis properly, you want to actually understand what you're seeing on these charts, get comfortable looking at and analyzing these corrective patterns. All right, that's my TED Talk. This is a triangle, more likely than not. I'm seeing 5 waves, and most importantly, I'm seeing an end, right? My stochastic RSI momentum indicator is also saying, hey, look, you're likely to get a breakdown from this at this point. That's my 5th wave, A, B, C, D, E. And just like I was saying, you typically get 1 or 2 of these that are complex or funky. So A's really straightforward, B's kind of drawn out, kind of funky, I would say. C straightforward, D straightforward, E. So it was B in this one. I think 1 to 2 of them typically are funky. That's what I remember learning about triangles. In any case, this triangle breaking down is significant because this is our Bitcoin dominance chart. What does it mean if Bitcoin dominance breaks down? Well, glad you asked. Bitcoin dominance breaking down is our indication that altcoins are going to cream Bitcoin, right? Altcoin market cap is going to gain against Bitcoin's market cap, i.e., altcoins are going to fly and Bitcoin's going to stagnate, relatively speaking. This is what this chart is saying. The other really interesting thing is, right, the triangle is basically just reading the breakdown of this Bitcoin dominance. But look, once this breaks down, there are no levels. There are small, like, itty bitty, sort of areas of possible support, but there's no real support for Bitcoin dominance until you get down all the way here. That should excite you. That should make my crazy harebrained idea of altcoins going at least 4x in the coming days make more sense. That should be another data point that corroborates that thesis, that trade thesis. Because look, if this breaks down, let's clean this up because I really want you to see this. This is really interesting. Think about this. And this is what I think, one of the reasons why my videos are long is because I want to explain why I say what I say. It's not enough to say what I say. A lot of people have different opinions. Everybody's got like some crazy idea. But like, if I can tell you why and why makes sense to you, you can actually use it, make it your own. Without my explaining why I'm saying what I'm saying, it's completely useless. It's just another opinion. It has to be substantiated, though, for it to make sense. Look at this. If this is indeed a triangle or whatever it is, let's say it breaks down. Whatever this is, it's insignificant. It's not that important what it is. But if it breaks down, there are no levels of support until you get to the base of this wedge right here. That is a big dump in Bitcoin dominance. Remember what it looked like in the cryptocurrency space when Bitcoin dominance went up like this, right? That resulted in a big drawdown, okay? So think about what it will look like if Bitcoin dominance goes all the way down here from 60% to 50% thereabouts. That should result in a massive move in the altcoin space. Okay, so that is another data point as to why my saying some altcoins might 10x in the next few days isn't that crazy. Okay, so let's look at this from the total 3 perspective. Lots of people have no idea when to use what, meaning a lot of analysis is being done on the total market cap chart, which shouldn't be used right now because Bitcoin and altcoins are doing something completely different, generally speaking. Not all altcoins are going to put in a 5x, 6x, whatever, but a lot will. But Bitcoin isn't. Unlikely to. Bitcoin's likely not doing all of that. So you don't read the total market cap chart because it's misleading. It's one of the reasons we have total 2, and total 3 is so that we can make these analyses without muddling the picture up if Bitcoin's doing something different than altcoins, which happens during alt season. So right now, what you want to do is look at something like the total 2 or total 3. Total 2 would be acceptable. Total, not at all. If Bitcoin is indeed going to stagnate and and Bitcoin dominance is going to drop, right? So why am I saying, again, this is a great clue to tell you that altcoins are ready to give you a 4x minimum. Here's why. Go on the weekly time frame. Once again, you're in this channel, okay, right here. And this is a nice up and to the right matriculation of price action, whereby price action is not only gaining, so it's up and to the right, but also consolidating, and the consolidation is within the it's in the boundaries of this channel that we've drawn here. Okay, so you're getting really nice price action here in this total 3. And again, the total 3 is everything in the crypto space minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. That's the representation of the total 3. And another way to look at this is, yes, you did one of these, which my Wyckoff people know as that phase D and phase E matriculation out of an accumulation, but also my pattern analysis folks will recognize that you're basically putting in an inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern, okay? And that inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern can be shown as this. I would say, if you want to be really careful, that's your inverse head and shoulders. This is your breakout of the inverse head and shoulders. This is your retest. You are cleared for takeoff. Again, just like what's happening with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin broke out, hit 100K. You need to retest high time frame resistance as new support before taking off. This is what you're seeing in total 3. A breakout of high time frame resistance, retested at support, breaking out. That's what you're about to see in the total 3 chart, okay? And this is where I put this dotted line, this dashed line, sorry, is your neckline. So the pattern analysis is quite simple. You take your inverse head and shoulders, a neckline, and you take the height of the pattern, superimpose it from the side of breakout, and you get your target. And that is one way to get the target, right? Another way I got my target is this. And actually, I didn't even do the pattern analysis, and I got the same target. Is you can look and see that on a higher time frame, you've got resistance up here, right? How do we know that? This is our dotted line expressing this 1, 2, 3 point resistance. So 3 points on the weekly time frame, that's good solid data that gives us a reliable trend line, and that trend line says 3 trillion if we break out this week, 3 trillion is our target. We can't necessarily break that without experiencing at least some sort of resistance. Now, given that we've already tested the neckline of this channel, I would say that we don't necessarily have to come back down here. But this is where the analysis gets really technical, or really where we have to be careful. We can't say, oh, the pattern analysis, if you only knew pattern analysis, you would say, okay, we have this inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. And, sorry, my pen's lagging here. Let me try again. Boom. Okay, we have this inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern. We've already retested the neckline as support. We can go and we don't have to come back. Wrong. Here's why we can come back, and here's why you should expect altcoins to go higher than expected, because this is the aggregate chart, and the aggregate chart saying from here we go to 3 trillion, which is about a 4x. Okay, but here's why you can expect a big retracement after we get to this resistance. Okay, and it's because we can see here, using our skills in channel trading, we can see here that this green channel that I drew isn't just a fancy up and to the right phase D and E, Wyckoff phase D and E, matriculation up and out of a bearish or a bullish accumulation. It's also encouraging us to see the fact that altcoins on the total 3 just hit the bottom of a channel. Okay, and that channel was an accumulation channel of sorts. So we're now coming out of the bottom of a channel, and if you break the boundaries of a channel, can you leave the channel yet? No, we all know the answer to that. No, categorically no. Why not? Because a channel, in order to be sort of left, in order to be broken out of, either up or down, one must retest the midline of the channel. Channels have 3 main components: the bottom, which is support; the top, which is resistance; the midline, which is support when you're above it, resistance when you're below it. We're currently below the channel's midline. So whatever we do to the upside, we must come back down to the midline to retest it as support before continuing. We know that. So given our understanding of price action on the small time frames, this is why you don't only relegate your analysis to high time frame or small time frame. You've got to have a holistic sort of understanding of what's happening to give yourself a chance, because this stuff is hard. Okay, anybody who tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. Technical analysis and trading, very, very challenging. Takes a lot of experience, a lot of understanding. Everybody gets lucky, but to systematically perform, it takes a lot of doing. In any case, if you break out from here, you move, you're likely putting in a flat correction, because again, on the small time frames, this is what we've seen, and I talked about that 2 episodes ago. I'm not going to rehash that. So if we're putting in a flat correction, we know Elliott wave analysis tells us that the retracement, minimum retracement of a flat correction, is the 786 Fibonacci retracement. So you pull your fibs from the bottom to the purported top, which is 3 trillion, and look, lo and behold, your midline is almost exactly at the 786, which is the minimum retracement for a flat correction. That is my read. Lots of confluence to tell me that, okay, altcoins from here with a high degree of probability can be expected to go up 250, 260%. That's about a 3 to 4x, okay? And that's an aggregate sort of a projection. So a lot of altcoins are going to do a lot more than that. Some will do a lot less. All right, we all know that. So this is another data point that's confluent with what we're seeing in Bitcoin dominance, confluent with what we've seen in the larger market, and the idea that altcoins have been downtrodden for so long. Sentiment in altcoins is so low. They have to catch up at some point in time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Let's look at one altcoin in particular to see what this means specifically for a particular example. Let's look at Litecoin. Okay, so Litecoin is up already 11% on the day, and this is a good example of here the breakout from this level of accumulation or this level of consolidation. And here's why you want to be very careful when assuming that when you come up and you grab liquidity after a big move, that you have to come back down. Most of the time you do, but a lot of times in a super bullish trend, when it's actually go time, very rare, actually go time to go from corrective to impulsive price action, you don't. Had you been waiting for the big retracement, you would have been long gone, left behind. Case by case basis, this stuff is very challenging. I've personally been left behind on such a trade because statistically speaking, this comes back down and fills this before, if it does break out and to the upside, this happens statistically speaking more often than not. But you can't trade like a computer. You can't. This stuff is way too complicated. There's way too many moving parts. You have to use your experience. You have to use your understanding, and it's subtle as hell. If you're rigid in your rules, you will fail. Rigidness maybe in a certain context gives you good results, because statistically you may be correct, but in certain contexts, this is the important part. If you're in a breakout season, if you're in an impulsive season, and you're waiting for these retracements, you're going to lose more often than not. If you're in a bearish, consolidative, corrective season, you're going to win more often than not, waiting for those retests, those fill-ins, depending on how you trade. If you're trading bullishly and you're corrective, you're probably not going to win anyway. In any case, Bitcoin's broken out. This is exactly what we've been seeing, right, throughout the altcoin space. 5 to 7 days sideways. This is the breakout. Did I say Bitcoin? I meant Litecoin. Litecoin broke out. Do expect this breakout to continue. If you're looking at Litecoin, the next logical target of resistance is at the top of this multi-year channel. Okay, and we're looking at a channel that's been around 2,700 days in the making. 2,700 days in the making. The top of the channel is likely to be hit. Why this green line and not this dashed line? Well, again, because the rationale is you're currently below the midline of the 2,700 day channel. So whatever you do on the upside, you got to come back down, retest that midline as support. And this, to me, is once again an example of a flat correction. So I'm not going to do it here, but if you pull, why not? Let's just do it real quick. If you pull your Fibonacci retracement level from the bottom of this move, right, and you have your retracement line up with the 0.786, which is the minimum retracement of a flat correction, you get this target there about around 1,200. Around 17 to 1,200, or sorry, what am I saying? 1,100. Yeah, around 1,200. Let's say around 1,200 for Litecoin, right? Which represents about almost a 10x, right? 10x. Yeah, a little more than a 10x, because 900% is 10x. So this is why, I mean, like, look, all the data is telling us that you're about to get a massive move in altcoins. The particular altcoin charts are telling you that. Bitcoin dominance is telling you that. That indicator is telling you that. The total 3 indicator is telling you that. So I'm just going to go with what I see and what I read. I know it sounds crazy, but if Litecoin's giving you a 10x, imagine what API 3, imagine what DYDX, imagine what Balancer is going to do for you. So that's all I've got. I'm really excited. I love the way this is looking. And the last thing I'll say is this. If it's fast, it won't last. If it's slow, let it grow. This is very important. I understand the frustration. I understand it's been very difficult. Let's look at the better chart right here. I understand how long we've been waiting for something like this. But on the smaller time frames, when you're looking at something like Balancer, just using this as an example, the past 7 days it's about 7 days, right? In this area, after our capitulative move, have been really annoying. You're just going side to side, kind of downwards, in this very restricted area of price. And it's like, what are we doing? Are we going to go up? Are we going to, what are we doing? It's already been thousands of days that this asset has been completely downtrodden, and we're waiting for a breakout. We've been waiting for a breakout. Are we going to get a breakout? Well, after a capitulation like this, an end move like this, right, and a recovery, you want a slow, nice, and complete reaccumulation of the price. All right, you can call it an accumulation, you can call it a reaccumulation. I'd like to call it an accumulation, but technically, specifically, you can say it's a reaccumulation because it's not. Yeah. Anyway, and you want that because this is where buyers step in once again. More buyers, more people saying, "Hey, actually, there might be something here," and typically, in technical analysis, when you see a move play out with a long-standing accumulation, you tend to get a similar move to the upside. If you get a quick move after a move down, that's a fast move, V-shaped recovery. Without this, you're going to probably get something quick to the upside, probably going to be limited, but whatever it does, it's going to probably come right back down. If it's fast, it won't last. If it's slow, let it grow. Words to live by. Accumulations are your friend. All you got to do is learn how to read them and position yourself accordingly to take advantage of them. Guys, that's all I have. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful, a little on the long side, but like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider buying me a coffee, i.e. tipping me via Litecoin, Venmo, Cash App, or also consider joining my crypto portfolio and mentorship consultation service. About $150 every month, and you can sign up for that also at the pinned comment below. It's on my Buy Me a Coffee website, one-on-one every month with me, 1 to 2 hours, where I help you pick up to 5 assets to invest in, give you entries and exits, and basically help you make it in this coming bull market. So guys, that's it. Take care, and I'll see you later.
Seems I wake in the days while the world spins without me. Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon his glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Yeah. Looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better. Don't letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death.